Do you have energy drink? Energy
Can you
drink.
please low? Can you, excuse me? Oh, shit. Oh. Please, I'm trying to figure out something. Yeah, give me a second. So you guys can see my screen. Trying to see how you can
Yes, you
filter.
can see.
Yeah, I want to show you guys how you can get resume on Indeed. Even I'm still gonna show you how to build a resume yourself, but just want to see. Okay, let me do this. There's a way you can get resume online, especially on Indeed. So I'm trying to see. Remember, whereby every day you keep getting a lot of resumes on specific jobs you're applying for. Okay, I think I got it. Let me see. So these are the resume I used to get every day. This email and third party risk. Try got this one for someone. I think I don't need it anymore. So I do get these alerts. If I open these now, this 694 resumes on third party. I need to see job titles. So if I open anyone, get new resume for this search by email. So it's something you guys can do too as well. So as I'm doing this, I want someone to try it on their site. So just type in resumes.indeed.com. So I want someone to try it and let me know.
Hi, Mr. John. I have a question.
Who's this?
Adesi.
Okay, please.
For us to be able to get resumes, don't we have to have the employers Indeed? Do we have to have like an employer?
No, ID. No.
Okay.
You don't need to. Yeah. Just go to do the resumes.indeed.com.
Okay.
Yeah, you can search. Let me see if I can do that here again. Let me just do it manually. Resume.indeed.com. So you see, find candidates. So you can just do resume alerts. So I already have something filtered. So in my search, first of all, in the search, I can just search for whatsoever field you want to search for. So you'll be getting these alerts every morning. Third party risk management. Let me just do this. Search. So what happened? Third party risk. Okay. Well, okay. So he's gonna bring out that for you. Please let me know if you're trying the same thing so that I
I'm
know that.
trying it.
Okay. Are you able to see this?
No, it tells me to start my free professional trial today.
No.
You can sign in if you have a LinkedIn account.
A LinkedIn? Because
Indeed. This is Indeed.
because
I don't know.
for you to be able to see other people's resumes, you have to be an employer. Unless you
I'm
want to.
sorry, an Indeed account.
Oh yeah, I think you need to have an Indeed account, just normal accounts, but not. Let me see if I'm using my account. Yes, I'm using my account. You're right. So
Has anyone else able to?
who just actually answered?
That's Tim Tayo.
Okay,
Tim Tayo Lano.
Okay. Tim Tayo, I think I have. Can you send me a message, please? I know you
Yes, sir.
sent me a message before. Send me a message now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. Send me a message on my WhatsApp now. Okay. 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 Is anybody trying it as well?
Hi, Mr. John. I'm also trying it. My name is Taiwo, but it's saying to try start of trial accounts. So I want to know if it's
No, you don't need to. You don't need. Do you have an Indeed account? Normal Indeed account?
actually, yes, I do.
Okay, log in into your normal Indeed account.
I did.
Okay, so once you log into your normal Indeed, you should have resumes. You just do resumes.indeed.com.
Exactly, I am there.
So
I am there, and it's saying resume alert.
is it giving you this? Start your free professional trial today.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't need this one. Don't worry. So what you just need to do is search for this. Put in the third-party risk management.
All right.
Right. Once you do that, click on search. So once you click on search, it's going to give you this, but you can't open it. Right?
Yes.
So what you're going to do is, do you see anything like get new resumes for this search by email?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, good. Then put it on. Yeah. Do you see what I did?
Yes, put it on.
Turn on the notification.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes, I did.
Oops, my battery is low. Give me a second. So turn that on. So once you turn that on, you could. So probably by tomorrow you should get. Tomorrow, next tomorrow, you should be getting alerts. If you don't, let me know.
All right.
But,
thank you.
Yeah. But this is what you do.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Adaise, what you just try doing that. So once you have create an account. Once you create an account, you say what?
Yeah, okay, I'll try. I had an extra question. I'm so sorry. Do you want us to have this alert on in order to be able to see jobs?
Yeah, to be able to see resume. So what I want you to do is, if it's just for one day, so that you get resumes and build your resumes through this.
Okay.
Yeah, but your own case is different. So your own case is different. So you don't need to. There's a way we can do yours. Yours is different. Yeah. So So you guys can actually build resumes. Once you have an alert, open it, you see a complete resume, just tweak it. Let me tell you what I do. Even if I pick up resume here, right? Let's assume I'm picking up resume here, right? So what I do is I don't want to lift everything from here. So the job description, I can just come here, look for any. Hold on, sorry. Let's see. So I'm sure you guys can remember all these things. ISO, SOC 2, IPA, GDPR, PCI, SOX. So these are the things I've actually taught. If you are working already, maybe you have any idea on compliance, you can apply for this job. Okay, I'll speak on all this today. I have a few people on this call. I don't know if they are around. Mr. Ibrahim, is Mr. Ibrahim here? IB. Ah, that's my boss right there. Your voice is not loud anyway. I have one other boss here that is going to talk to us. Mr. Nandi. Is Mr. Nandi here? Where is Mr. Nandi? I guess he's busy. I understand. He's so busy, very busy man. Anyway. Okay. So probably if you're looking for a job anyway, this is what I do. Like, let me just put in third party. So I can do third party, right? You can search for third party. You can search for vendor risk, either management or analyst. I try to put management. It's going to bring a lot than the analyst role. So you can put third party, you can put information security risk. So basically what I'm looking for is I have to make sure. So I look at the job description, like this information security risk. You can look at the job description, you see something that relates to third party or something. If you didn't see, don't worry, just don't apply. So I just look at it. If it doesn't relate to, if I didn't see anything relating to third party, but I can apply for this because it's more like compliance assessment. All these things I can apply. That's what I do. Like when I see something like compliance, when I see something like compliance, information security risk and compliance assessment, and I see bracket like this, I still apply, right? Don't worry about other things in there. So of course, when you're sending your resume to them, they know that, okay, they'll see your resume. Excuse me. What else? Mr. Ibrahim, what other role? I mentioned vendor risk, third party risk, information security risk. What other do you think? Risk.
IT risk.
Exactly. IT risk. IT risk. Either analyst or management, either way. Let's just say IT risk. Okay, you want to say something?
Yeah, vendor risk.
Yeah, vendor risk. Yeah, vendor risk. So look for roles like that, risk management, risk analyst, either way. So let's assume I want to build a resume. I want to build a resume. Let's assume I can just do this. Okay, let's look at one vendor risk. Let's look at this vendor risk. Let's assume I'm building a resume. I look at the job description. This is not what I want. It doesn't really have good description. It doesn't have good description that I can pick from. Let's look at this Satanda. Okay, let me just advise you guys. Mr. Ibrahim knows what I'm talking about. I said this on the first class. What I taught you guys was information, third-party security risk.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, Mr. John. You have not started recording yet, sir.
Is that
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me record. Okay, thank you. Record.
This meeting is being recorded.
All right. So I'm sure you guys remember what I did the first time when I was talking about how to get alert on resumes, right? Go to resumes.indeed.com. Once you go resume, type in the role you're looking for, search, then put on the notification, get new resume for this search by email. Whatsoever resume you're looking for, you get it by email every day in the morning. So if you want to take it off, like now, I think I need to take off some of the ones I've gotten enough of this. So I don't think I need to get it anymore. So, yep, that's how to get a resume. So let me assume I got a resume right there, or I want to build a new one. Easy. Where am I? Okay. So I'm looking at this vendor risk assessment analyst. So the thing is, there are two parts to third-party risk management. There is a financial side of it. There is a non-financial side of it. The financial part of third-party risk, I don't teach that in the class. Because if I teach the financial aspect and I'm teaching the non-financial aspect, you guys will be confused. So I don't want to confuse anybody. So most of my students working in the financial industry, how they go to that interview is, once you are applying for a job or once you are getting an interview, once you're getting interviews, always reach out to me. So I'll be able to know if truly this is financial side of it or non-financial side of it, right? Yeah. So once you reach out to me and I got to know that, okay, probably this financial side of third-party risk, then I can give you a 2 hours or 1 hour lecture on it. It's similar, but a bit different. So once I give you 1 to 2 hours, you will know what I'm talking about. You know the difference. So, but mostly 90% of the job out there are, let's say 85% of the job are non-financials. So which is what I taught you guys. Basically, strictly information security, but other areas are different. In financials, it's not just information security. There are different risks we look at, we assess. But in normal non-financial, we only assess information security risk, which is what I taught you guys. Don't worry, once you have it, let me know. So let me explain. Let me just do this. Okay. Third. So I'm trying to build a resume. Okay. Hey, another one is if you are searching for jobs, okay. First, you can search for third-party security risk. You can search for third-party risk, either management or analyst, either way. But I try to put in management. The management will pull out all this, the analyst side of it too. So I can search for vendor risk. I can search for IT risk management. I can search for information security risk. All right. I can also search for GRC analyst role. This is GRC here, governance, risk, and compliance. That's for me of GRC. GRC covers, is like an umbrella of where third party is, GDPR. I remember I told you that specialty, they are subject matter experts in different fields in security. third party is there, NIST, GDPR, PCI. Privacy covers the GDPR and the CCPA. So those are niche. Everyone has his own niche, specialty. So our own specialty here is third party risk. If you understand third party risk, it's easier for you to understand other ones. Just read and understand. Right? During an interview, you just pick an eye level on it, once what you read about. So let's, like this job, you can apply this today. Look at this today. If I look at the GRC and compliance, I look at the job review. So you're paying 84 to 126 a day, not a day. That's a mistake. This should be like $1,000 a year. That was a mistake. 84 to 126,000. So anyway, so I want to look at the job description if it carries anything related to third party. Respond to cross-site and customer questions regarding GRC topics, assist with internal and external audit, assessment, including control assessment, monitoring, reporting, including collateral. Working with various internal team, external parties to define and prioritize remediation efforts. Tracking remediations activities and expecting a valid solution about the project. Performing other duties, conducting third-party controls evaluation to determine risk. Of course, I'm applying to this immediately. SOC reports, I will apply instantly. So that is one. So let's look at this. Okay, like for example, I want to build a resume, right? So I can just pick this. I like what is here. Understanding and managing third-party risk and contrasting with the IT supply, providing transparency, like performing supplier risk, and like so. I can just pick this, copy. Once I copy, just put in ABC company. Let's assume this ABC company. TPRM. But I like to spell it out. If you're doing yours, you can spell it out. TPRM analyst. Please spell it out. Then job description, I could just put this. Okay. So even if you get an alert on what I told you guys, right? Don't lift everything. Just you can pick from 3 resumes, the job description, pick 3 here, pick 2 here, pick 2 here. Don't just lift every job description that you're seeing. So anyway, or if you want to do this pattern, you know, I took 3, right, from here. So me picking 3 from there, I could just do this.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. John. My name is Adedamola. For each of this resume, didn't they carry out plagiarism on them?
No, there's nothing like that's the reason why I'm telling you that don't lift, because if you're lifting that resume you're looking online, okay, and you're applying to the same place, you lift all the resumes and you're applying to the same place. Of course, you've mentioned it all, but I like to tweak it. So it's going to be you alone and you alone. So you can lift everything, but tweak, which is what I'm doing, right?
Like the tenses, right?
You can change tenses, yes. You can pick, just like I picked 3 out of these ones. I picked 3 here. So I can go to another role right here. If I see something that I feel I like, support the execution and documentation of IT testing for in scope. Executive testing, no, these are more of like audits, testing controls on IT. So let me just go. This is a good job right here. This job. This is interesting. Don't worry, let's move on. I'm looking for a good. So coordinate with the key global third-party risk management. Make meaningful risk mitigating recommendation. This was the one I taught you guys last week. Making recommendation of open findings. So this is what you do. Serve as a third-party risk assessor. Performing risk assessment by evaluating third-party attestation attestation, perform total, that's the documents you get back and the responses attesting that, okay, truly they have evidence. Performing control design review and control implementation of evaluation. Don't worry about it, it's similar to what I taught you guys. Complete assessment using established procedure and standard, industry framework, best practice, and the likes. So what I do is I can just pick from here, pick this, copy, go into my so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can just do 2 more. That's for APC, right? You can do 2 more to this. Then you do SYZ. Okay. Probably your role might just be, I like to make sure that, okay, if I'm doing 2 roles, one should be third party risk analyst, the other one should be, let's say, third party security risk. I like to put the word security in one. If one is taking third party risk, there's a reason for that. Remember, I told you that it's non-financial and financial. So this can go with financial, but this can go with non-financial, which is the one I taught you guys. It's the same thing, but don't worry. Once you get an interview relating to financial, let me know. So I'll tell you a little bit of difference. Okay, let's move on. I could even just.
Excuse me, John. Good evening. This is Kende. I have a question. For the financial ones, are there any terms that we can look out for to, that will let us know, okay, this is financial?
Okay, yes, I definitely want to. I'll talk about that. That one is certain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So let's go. Okay, let's move on. So let's assume, okay, let me do this based on that question. So let me just go straight. Let's assume these are more like, because these are more like, okay, these are more like this security aspect. I can add more to this. Mr. Ibrahim, I'm sorry. Be patient with us. All right, let's look for another. And yes, review current configuration standard for system based. Ensure can apply the code by the third party vendor. And project requiring information service and so I can add this one to the first one. I can add this one to the first one, all right? But I want to add to. So let me focus on the financial one. I hope I'm seeing. Let me see what I search. My search is on. Okay, let me change the search. Third party risk management. I should be able to. Okay, you see, meet first bank. Okay, this for what's it called? Okay, maintain collaboration with supplier relationship managers to ensure. I'll pick this one. Provide appropriate guidance and advice to supplier relationship manager, supplier by drawing out useful information asking. I can pick this to perform and evaluate supplier risk assessment to determine specific compliance requirements. Review all new suppliers. So I can just pick this. This financial, but I'll tell you what I'm seeing. It's going to be a little bit hard for you to know this is financial, this is not. I will try and see. copy. Maybe I'll be able to. Okay, I can just go in the same place.
Sorry, boss, I have a question.
Normally, I'm supposed to tell you guys that let me finish up. I don't want confusion, please. Just give that question. I'll open the floor for question, please. Okay. Perform and evaluate supplier risk. Excuse me. Perform and evaluate supplier risk to determine specific compliance requirements. No. Review all new supplier due diligence information and follow up on missing, inaccurate, or inconsistent data to ensure compliance. I'll pick this one. It's so interesting. I'll pick it. So let me tell you, let me see if this, let me read everything and tell you how to know. Of course, number one is, this is bank, right? Automatically I know. And I'm looking at third-party risk management. If I see anything relating to, maybe they say third-party risk hyphen, just like this one is risk analyst 1, third-party risk. Of course, this bank. But assuming you see information security risk analyst, and they put hyphen and third-party risk, know that that's what I taught you guys. In normal information, even though it's a bank, you will still flow with what I taught you guys. But like this one, it might be, it's similar, but not strictly security. The reason why I don't say it, normally what I'm telling you guys, I don't say it in the class because now you guys are confused. That's the reason why I don't say it. But don't be confused. If you are seeing anything relating to, if you are confused and you're trying to apply for a job and you see that, okay, you are not comfortable enough, you can screenshot and send it to me. The job description, I will tell you, with time you will know that this is financial and this is not financial. But the way this is this one is act as a subject matter expert in designated risk discipline. This is financial. Financial use subject matters. They have subject matter in information security. They have subject matter in compliance, subject matter in reputation, subject matter in what other risk area? Compliance risk area, subject matter in business continuity plan or resiliency. They have subject matter in which other area? Model risk. They have subject matter in information security risk. That's financial. If you're working in the financial industry, right? Let me see another way. I don't want to look at anything bank. Let's see if we can see if it's not going to give us name, and I can read if it's a financial or not financial. Okay. Ensuring trust and security are core. This is security, automatic. This one is security. This one is security. This is not security. This is not security. This is non. This is the financial aspect. Okay, collaborate with business point of contact and vendors to collect data for operation of TPRM program vendor profile report. Provide support to stakeholders. Completing due diligence questionnaire by identifying questions, and this one is financial. So let me tell you, I just want to give you a tip, just tip. Let me tell you the difference. Don't be confused, please. I don't like saying it, but don't be confused. The difference between you being a third-party security risk analyst in the non-financial and a third-party risk analyst in financial. In the financial industry, as I mentioned, your role might be just, let me tell you what you do. You are just like a facilitator. You will be the one to meet with the business owner to complete the inherent risk questionnaire. The inherent risk questionnaire in the financial industry looks like this. This is my first time I'm saying this. This is in my training. Looks like this. Can you see? This is a financial industry inherent risk questionnaire. It looks like this. Can you see? Each tab has questions. This information security has these questions, right? Operational model. This is another risk category. We call them risk category, risk domains. So there is an expert for this. The business owner will complete all these risk domains: reputation, this reputation question, operational technology question, operational business model question, information security, compliance, financial reporting. So all these tabs you're looking at as is our own subject matter expert, right? So you as a person, you know you are good in information security and basically maybe business resiliency, anything relating to IT, and I saw operational technology. So, but you're going to be a subject matter expert in just one risk category if you're working in the financial industry, or you be a facilitator, third-party risk management analyst. What do? Your job is you meet with the business owner to complete this questionnaire, all the tabs in this questionnaire. Once it's been completed, you send it to each risk partners. I send it to Adaise in information security. I send it to Kende in operational model. I send it to OJ in business resiliency. I send it to Tolu in technology. I send it to Kola in reputation. I send it to Anu in compliance. I send it to Faith in financial reporting. So once I send it to them, these people are called risk partners or risk SME, subject matter experts in each domain. They will review the questionnaire, the inherent risk questionnaire that was completed by the business owner. Once they review, if they have further questions, they'll reach out to you as a third-party risk assessor. I'm explaining in financial. They'll reach out to you. Once they reach out to you, you will be the one to reach out to the business owner to correct that changes that they actually notify. It is called review and challenge. That process I just mentioned now is called review and challenge. As I mentioned again, the risk partners will review what is completed by the business owner. You will send it to them, right? They will review. If they have any challenge to any question, the risk partner will reach out to you about the challenge. The challenge might be, maybe they're saying, no, this question on financial, maybe financial risk partner reach out to you and say, why did they respond to? Why did they select? Let's assume they selected yes. What is the question? The question is saying, does this service involve or have potential material impact on the creation of the bank's financial statement? And they said yes. Meanwhile, when they are reviewing, when the risk partner review that, it feels that, okay, no, these services that the vendor will be rendering will not have any material, will not have any impact to the creation of any bank financial statements. They say answer yes, if all this. It's not going to have any effects relating to this. So why did they choose yes? So that's a challenge. They will reach out to you as a third-party risk analyst and let you know about the challenge. Then you will set up another meeting with the business owner to rectify this to know based on the challenge that was given by the risk partner. So your job is more like a facilitator. You don't review. The same thing comes to information security. The risk partner will review what has been completed in the meeting with you as the assessor and the business owner. If there's any challenge, they'll get in touch with you as a third-party risk analyst to rectify the challenge that was noted by the risk partner. The same thing applies to this, and so on and so forth. So once everything has been rectified, at that point, maybe altogether, the risk rating for this IRQ, the inherent risk questionnaire, comes out as I, let's assume. At that point, you will now reach out to the vendor You as a third-party risk analyst, you reach out to the vendor and you let them know you'll be sending a questionnaire. The questionnaire you'll be sending might be the SIG1 or KY3P. This KY3P question. So you see, but we use KY3P, not mostly. We use KY3P questionnaire in the financial industry. Financial industry use KY3P. They use SIG, some use SIG, but 95% of financial industry use this questionnaire called SIG questionnaire. Use KY3P questionnaire. They use KY3P questionnaire, which is what I showed you. Why? It's because it has different domains. Like, for example, it has operational technology, PCP, InfoSec, compliance, all those domains we see in that hierarchy, you see the same thing. Assuming in this, okay, don't let me go deeper. So just note that they will complete this questionnaire. The vendor will be the one to complete all these ones on each domain. And once they complete it, they will send it back to you as the third-party risk analyst. These are documents requested from each domains. Like this, if you notice from BCP, you see risk areas, attachments, requested documents. So BCP DRP, this is what they want. This is the requested document they wanted, right? Compliance, wants compliance management policy, wants organizational structure, compliance program, regulatory compliance documents, right? Financial, these are the things financial wanted, OFAC, all these things, transaction monitoring compliance documents. Under the financial reporting as well, look at SOQUAN reports. Remember I told you what SOQUAN is. SOQUAN type 2 reports. Control over financial reporting. So they requested for that. InfoSec, has a lot. InfoSec normally have most. InfoSec has a lot of most. InfoSec and operational technology will have most of the documents needed. SOC reports, record retention, all these things, data privacy. Look at ISO, PCI DSA. They needed all this AOC, attestation of compliance. If you go to, these are all the documents needed. Insurance certificate, insurance needed this. So operational tech, these are all the documents needed, right? Okay. So once they send it back to you, the questions completed and the documents, you will not be the one to review. Remember that in our class, you are the one reviewing it. In the non-financial industry, you will be the one to review and look at the gaps, do everything from A to Z. But in financial industry, no. Your job is like a facilitator. Once you receive this back, you now send it to each risk domain, operational technology, the risk partner, you send it to them. The same thing to information security, you send it to them, what you receive. They will be the one to review and give a control assessment rating. If there is gap, if there is anything, they let you know if there are gaps. Reach out to the vendor for this gap. You as a third party, please reach out to the vendor. These are the gaps noted. Or you just set up a meeting between the vendor and the risk partner. So to discuss the open findings. So you see, you're not doing nothing. You are just like an administrator. That's in the financial. So it's either you get a job as a third-party risk analyst, depending on the role. The job role might be the same. They might call it third-party risk analyst, but the job description might be different. Or they mention it as information security, just like I explained to you the other time when I was explaining. Was it this? Where is it? Okay. This. For example, if you see this is a bank, automatically we know it's a financial. If you see anything like information security risk, third-party risk, that means you are going to be a risk partner in information security. That means you'll be the one reviewing the questionnaire that is sent back to you by the third-party risk analyst. You are a risk partner. If you see this role, they make compliance risk analyst. Note that you'll be a compliance risk partner, right? Or if you didn't see anything, you're just a third-party risk management analyst. That means you're a facilitator. You are not reviewing anything. You just be the middleman or the middle person between the risk partner and the vendor. Any question? Any question with the financial aspect? We're quiet. Wow.
Mr. John, we are getting it. Maybe that's why there's no question. If there is, let's ask you. Thanks so much.
Okay, you're welcome. So that is it. Note again, if you see difference here, you should know that you are a risk partner, but not a facilitator. You will be the one reviewing all those questions, looking at the review and challenge. You are an expert. So most time you will see a job, you know that your job is in the financial, is either you get a job as a third-party risk analyst, just being a facilitator or administrator. I love that job so well. It's very easy, but you'll be lazy, right? I did that for 2 years after being an information security expert in one of the banks, but I was so tired I leave. So, or you be a risk partner. So like this one now is probably more like a risk partner, but I don't know which of the risk partner per se, but it's a risk partner. I don't know which of the category, the risk category it falls, but a risk partner. Okay. Let me look for another one, which is the last one. This one is you are the facilitator. You are not an expert in anything. Let me look for, I'm trying to look for something. This is a facilitator kind of role, I guess. That's a bank, Santander. That role is more like facilitator. I'm trying to look for one more before I call on my boss on the call. If I can get another financial and see where they stand rather. It's an insurance company. This one is provide support to third party completing due diligence questionnaire by clarifying intent behind question and expect supporting evidence. Perform. I can put these statements in your job description. It's very straightforward. Perform periodic quality assurance and review of third party risk assessment. Other team members to ensure that all aspects meet established. See, this is a facilitator role. This is a facilitator role. Okay, I think I'm good for that. I'm sure I was able to explain building a resume, changing the job description, tweak it. Don't just lift everything, please. You know, pick 2 here, go to another row, pick 3, you know. Build a resume. What else? What else? If you are putting a skill, you can just put a skills like GRC tool you've used, like make sure you put a GRC tool you've used. GRC tools are ServiceNow, GRC tool. I just put it as VRM, Vendor Risk Management, RSA Archer, OneTrust, Prevalent. Which other one do we have? Metric stream. So you can mention all this, but these one are the most popular. ServiceNow, RSA Archer, OneTrust, and Metric stream. These ones are popular. Okay. Now let's go into interview. I don't really talk about, I don't have interview question. I do that during my trainings. I just tell you these are interview questions. Mr. Ibrahim, I want to open the floor for you. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you.
Okay, before you go on, I think I have Mr. Is Mr. Sewon here? I'm trying to call on my boss. Okay, probably. Let me message. Yeah, Mr. Ibrahim, you can go ahead. Mr. Ibrahim, you can go ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, you can just talk about, interview prep kind of questions you feel they can ask. Yeah.
Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sure others can hear you too, right?
If you can hear me, let me know.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. So my name is Ibrahim. I'm the famous Ibrahim on the group chat. Okay. Anyway, it's nice to be here.
Yeah. Before Mr. Ibrahim moves on, he just actually cleared his CISSP, which is the top most security certification in the world. Me myself, I don't have it, but he own it. So congratulations, sir.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, anyone can have it. It's not big.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So firstly, I'd like to thank Mr. John for this guest job. I mean, it's rare, it's very rare, and I know how much he charges for this class. So one of those, I'll be talking about, how to prepare for interview and, what to look out for during the interviews. And at the same time, I think they have touched that tonight, how to apply for jobs. So I'm aware that during the class, he has recommended a textbook that everyone should have, which is the security textbook. It's very important because everything you'll be doing on job is from the book. You need the book, and you can as well have the hard copy, so you can make reference to it while on job. So because so many questions will be thrown at you, and at the same time you are speaking to business owners who doesn't have they don't have security background. So that's very important. Then also try and watch the videos all over again and take notes, because most likely during the classes, many people are, they have maybe their phone with them and they are not able to take note of the vital points which you had mentioned. So that's another one. Also, there is a website called Verminder. You can go to Verminder and watch a series of videos on third-party management too. And then when you are applying, apply to a lot of jobs. That increases your chance of getting one. So if you are just applying to 2, 4, 5 jobs a day, I mean, you're on a long term. So prepare for interview and also record. Try and have an application whereby that can record your conversation with the interviewer on phone, so that you can review it after the call and see where you have made mistake, and you can correct, or maybe a question was you were asked a question and you don't know what the response should be. Then you can ask maybe Mr. John and somebody else. And then very important, so if you look at the job descriptions it showed us this night, there are a couple of regulations. So if you are targeting financial, there are regulations you have to know about, like the OCC, FFIEC, FDIC, couple of regulations. If you are targeting financial, they pay more. So if you are targeting financial, try and know about all these regulations, because most likely in the interviews they will ask you like the NYDFX, NYDFS, yeah, all that. Then if you are targeting the security, other industry, you should be familiar with the IPA, PCI, DSS. You need to read about all those regulations, GLBA, GDPR, CCPA, so many other, SOX, Sarbanes-Oxley. Yeah, you need to be familiar with all those regulations. So another thing I will be talking about is, which is common in interviews these days, is if you have any question while I'm talking, you can, signify, then I can, listen to the question. So recently in interviews, they ask situational questions, like questions on the, like, things you experience on the job. So there are, types of questions they ask. They can ask you technical questions. At the same time, they ask you things you experience during the job. So there are questions I've listed, like interview questions that I've written down. I'll share with Mr. John, though I didn't put the responses because you can research it, you can read about it, then form your own response to the questions. And when they ask you, most likely they will ask you from this list, most likely. Yeah. So you form your own response, and you keep reading it. You practice every day. Whenever you have interview, you can practice, and you have that with you. Then so I'll be talking about situational questions they ask, like, so they might ask you, describe issues you experience on the job, or what are the issues you experience while conducting an assessment. And so I've written like 7 issues there. Then I'll be discussing that. So one issue is, so during the class, you were taught about having a scoping call with the business owner, whereby you discuss the use of the product or the service of a vendor. So one issue is, sometimes these business owners, they are within the organization. They don't have technical background. They don't really know how the product works or what service the vendor will be providing for the organization. So when they're supposed to give you data elements, they don't know they don't know all the data elements that will be processed by the solution. So that's one issue. Like, you can tell the interviewer, business team, for instance, business team, they don't know all data elements that will be processed by the solution. That's one. So another one is, while you are conducting the assessment, the business owner can reach out to you and say, we are no longer using that vendor. Maybe you have even supplied the vendor the questionnaire. They'll come to you, we are not using that vendor. We are looking into another vendor. So you have to stop. That's another issue, because you have already put in your time and resources to assess the vendor. So that's another one. It will be better if you can take note of what I'm saying, or I can as well put it in the questions, in the notes that I have for you. So another issue you encounter is, if you have supplied the vendor the questionnaire, some vendors will not respond to your questionnaires. They don't have the time, or you have supplied them questionnaire, or they responded to your questionnaire, but in the questionnaire you are requesting for some documents, artifacts. You can call it artifact. You can call it evidentiary supporting document, like the SOC 2 IS policy, business continuity plan, disaster recovery plan, their privacy policy, all that, and they won't respond. That's another issue you encounter while conducting an assessment. And you have to know how to manage all these issues, because you have to find a way to get that, because you can't just approve a vendor without conducting a thorough assessment on them, especially when they are critical vendors. So that's another one. Another one is vendors not meeting up with controls. So this is very important, because this is exactly what you are doing. This is exactly why you are conducting the assessment. Because when you send questionnaires to them, in the questionnaire, you are asking them if they have controls. It's filled with controls. Do you have password policy? What is your password policy? Do you have encryption? Do you have firewall? What's your firewall rule? All that. So when you are now assessing this vendor and they don't have some controls in place, that is where the risk comes up. Those are the risks you identify while conducting the assessment. So if they don't have encryption, that's a risk, because you cannot approve a vendor that is keeping your credit card details and doesn't have encryption in place. That's a red flag. So that's another issue you encounter, and you have to know how to So that's where you go into remediation, helping the vendor, you're working with the vendor to remediate the risk or the issue. So some call it issue management, at the same time, some call it remediation. They are same, they are just different words, but same, same purpose. So you work along with the vendor to remediate. I'm sure you must have done remediation during the class. So that's another issue. Then another issue comes up with vendors. So there are big organizations like Amazon, Microsoft. Then you have a single guy who is providing a service to the organization, and you have to access the same, just a single person forms a company, a sole proprietorship also. So you have to conduct an assessment on such person too, and you don't expect that person to have, a big infrastructure like the likes of Amazon and Microsoft. So, but you have to, so you are in that case, you have to come down to the vendor's level. So depending on the data element they have, the vendor will be processing. So there are vendors of maybe they are just 2 or 14, they are just in a team, they are just 4, it's just 4 of them. And they are just using their laptop, and there are 4 laptops that they are using to provide service to your organization. So you just come down to their own level, assess what they have, and so there you can, depending on the data element they are processing, you can ask them to maybe, so for such vendors, they won't have, most likely they won't have IS policy. They won't have business continuity plan because they are just small. So you just come to their level, require some, little document from them. You can just ask them to provide you an IS policy that shows that they have same controls in place. They have antivirus on their laptop, all that. So that's another issue, because handling small vendors, it's not easy because you are giving them a questionnaire of like 300 questions, and they are just telling you, we don't have this, we don't have this, we don't have this, you don't understand. So, but at the same time, you still have to give them the chance to. But if it doesn't work, you just let them go, like we can't use it. You get, so it then depends on the business owner as well, because the business owner will tell you, we want this vendor, maybe because they are cheap, or they are the only one providing the service. So that's another issue you can talk about in interview. And another one is, another question which I've been asked in a couple of interviews is, what impact have you made to your team? How have you contributed to your team? You get, what have you done? What change have you made to your team? How have you contributed to your team? Different ways, different people contribute, different ways, they ask the question. So yeah, so when this comes up, you just have to look into. So if you don't have you don't have the experience already, so you can look into the training. That's why it is good to rewatch the videos so that you can have a full knowledge of how the program works, how the assessment is being conducted, and you can come up with something. So one of those things I used to one of the responses I used to give is when I joined the team, we were using the spreadsheet questionnaire, and so I contributed by suggesting that we should go to use to subscribe to SIG, the SIG questionnaire, and I work along with the GRC provider, the GRC2 provider, and I work alongside with them so we can develop the program from using the Excel sheet to the GRC2. You just have to come up with something.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Can you please just take that again? That's very important, please. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. So the question is, what have you contributed to your team or to the program, to the way you conduct the assessment? Like what, when you joined the team, what did you contribute?
Okay.
Or like what impact have you made to your team? You get what I'm saying? So
yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's it. So just look for something. You can come up with a story. I mean, not they are not there with you, but just come up with something. You can't just say, you can't go with blank response. You get, so several things you can talk about. How maybe previously you don't review SOC 2 reports, but when you join the team, you had a meeting with your manager on why you should you should review SOC 2 sometimes when vendors are not responding to your questionnaires, or when sometimes you feel like it's taking time to maybe, because sometimes, okay, so sometimes you have vendors that your company wants to use them the next day. They come to you like, we want this vendor, we want to onboard this vendor, and we want them approved today. So what do? You can send 300 questions to a vendor and they'll come back to you same day with the responses. So you can just request for the SOC 2 if they have it, and you review the SOC 2, and you start using a vendor, and while you do the proper assessment, you're already using the vendor, then you continue with the proper assessment. Or you can ask them few questions, like maybe 20 questions, ask them critical controls that you feel like they should have in place, like encryption, incident response. They should have maybe you ask them if they conduct vulnerability scan, if they conduct pen testing, if they have, you can ask them like their password, if they have MFA in place, if they comply with a couple of regulations like CCPA, GDPR. You ask them where your data will be stored. You get to know if they have to comply with GDPR or maybe CCPA, their incident response, critical controls. You can ask them that, and you start using them while you conduct the proper assessment. So they're already using a vendor. You get, so that's another thing. So you can come up with different things, but at least you should have that in mind. That can come up because everyone will want to know what are you bringing to the organization. It's not just just coming on. They want, because actually everybody wants to improve their program, their assessment program. You get, so if you are going with something, that's better. Then another one is take note of recent incidents.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Take note of recent incidents in the cyber world, like the recent data breach, like the Log4j. I was asked in an interview recently that what did I do about Log4j? You get, so that was a very tricky question because I was aware of Log4j, but the hiring manager was asking me, okay, so what's the latest version of Log4j that the vendors presented to me? So I wasn't, I didn't take note of the recent version. Of course, I'm not a vulnerability scanner or something. So that, then there's another one that happened last year. I think everyone should know about the Colonial Pipeline ransomware attack. That's around New Jersey area. So the pipeline company was attacked. They had to pay like $4 million ransom to the hackers. And there was another one last year, SolarWind. Yeah. So you have to take note of this. I've been asking not even 2 interviews, if I'm aware of the recent incident, of course. And the reason why it's important is your vendors. If something comes up today, if there's an incident today, maybe Microsoft, they attack Microsoft, you get, so what you are going to do is you're going to reach out to your vendors if they are using Microsoft, and you ask them if their data, because if they attack Microsoft will reach out to all their customers that your data has been breached. We have an attack, you get, so they will reach out to them. So if your vendor is one of those that they reach out to, you ask your vendor if their data, if their data is part of the incident. You get, so if their data is there, most likely your data will be breached as well. So then you then work out to remediate that. So maybe you ask them if they have patched their system or something like that. So most likely, maybe if you are using Microsoft products, then you have the vulnerability and you have to patch it to the latest version. Yeah, so that's that. So then I'll also talk about, so I've just talked about issues that you encounter during during assessment. Vendors not cooperating, business owners they're not cooperating as well. or maybe vendors don't have adequate controls in place, and you have to remediate. Those are issues you encounter. So let me, Mr. John, how many minutes do we have left?
No, continue.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah. So So I will not go through the questionnaire, the questions. I will just mention. I'll just walk you through the questions I have. So one is, walk me through your third-party risk assessment process. So you have to. So when they ask you this, they want you to narrate. They have given you a chance to narrate your story, everything you have in your mind. How do you assess your vendors from the beginning to the end? So if you are working in the financial, whereby you're just taking a little portion of the whole process, then you find a way of telling the interviewer what you do. I have been fortunate to, I handle the process from the beginning to end. So it's always a long story when they ask me this kind of question. So, but in preparing for this, don't just go to the interview without having your storyline already. Like maybe you have written it down, read it through, just have it processed, from the beginning of the process, of the assessment process to the end. So you don't go and mix it up. You have it, practice before the interview. Then another one is, how long does it take to assess a vendor? This is a very tricky one too, and they ask because they want to know how many you can do. So I did an interview recently. The company have 200,000 vendors. So if they have 200,000 vendors, they want somebody who can, maybe you're a magician, you can do 10 in a day, which is not possible. So they will ask you, how long does it take you to assess a vendor? Because they know if they give you an assessment, sometimes you can take longer time, maybe some assessment will actually take 2 months because the vendor is not responding, or they have some controls you ask them to fix after filling the questionnaires, and they are taking time because maybe somebody has to pass on budget, and it's taking time for them to to remedy the issue. So there's no specific time. Some interviewers want you to just open your mouth and say something, and they can actually tell you don't have experience with it. If you just tell them, I can do 4 in a day, they'll just look at you like, how can you do 4? Recently, I was asked in an interview, like, if you were given 20 vendors, you have 20 vendors, and you have to complete the assessment in a day, how do you go about it? It's not up to 2 months. I told the interviewer, I can do 20 in a day, as long as so I told the interviewer, I can do 20 in a day, provided we're not using questionnaire, and provided they are not critical vendors. If they are just vendors they're just taking emails, or that they're not taking our critical data or sensitive data. If they are taking just public data, then I can approve 20 vendors in a day. Then the interviewer now told me, okay, what if they are critical vendors? I told the interviewer, there is no way I can access 20 critical vendors in a day, except the only way I can, then I told her, the only way I can approve 20 critical vendors in a day is if I'm just reviewing their SOC 2 only. Just review SOC 2. Based on SOC 2, I'm approving. And she said, no, you are not using SOC 2. You have given a question, and I said, there's no way I can do that. So because you have to be careful of what you are approving for the company. Because when you are doing the assessment, the business owners want you to just sign off, like just do some kind of wiggle to the answer, approve the vendor so they can start using it. But when issue comes up with a vendor, I was doing Zoom assessment when Zoom had issue of encryption, and I was just happy because they lied, they have encryption, whereby they don't have it. So if I had approved Zoom for a big corporation, maybe that would have been an issue. They will just come, but you approved this. Did you ask? Did you do this? So you have to take your time. Don't just rush to approve the vendor, even though there's pressure on you that we need them. You just have to take your time, because some vendors, they don't have the controls. They are in business, but they don't have everything they should have in place. So you have to take your time. Then another one is, what do you
Sorry,
do?
please. Sorry, please. So what would be the ideal answer for that question you asked? How long did it take you to assess? Does it take you to assess a vendor?
Okay, yeah, thank you. So so the response, the best response, or there's no best response. So it's always, you have to narrate, like let them know, like there are critical, if the vendor is handling non-critical data or non-public data, or let me say, if the vendor is handling public data is everywhere. You can get that on Google, you get, so that can take a day to 30 days, depending on how cooperative the vendor is. But if you are handling critical data, then you have to send a C questionnaire that has 300 questions to a vendor. That's likely to take, if the vendor cooperates with you. So this is it. When you send out the questionnaire to the vendor, you give the vendor 2 weeks to complete the questionnaire. The minimum I've seen is 2 weeks. The vendor might take 3-4 weeks to complete and send it back to you. So let's say the vendor complete the questionnaire in 2 weeks, last 2 weeks, then you have to review and see if there's anything to remediate. But it is easier. So there's no one way response to this. You just have to let the interviewer know that you know what you are talking about. Like if the vendor is a critical one, it could take 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You get, for you to complete the assessment, because you are giving the vendor 2 weeks to fill out the questionnaire already. That's 2 weeks alone. And even before you even send the questionnaire out, maybe before the business owner reach out to you and you have the scoping call with the business owner, that's already a week, or let's say 30 days before you get the vendor to come for kickoff call or kickoff meeting. That's 2 days. So the minimum, you can just tell them, okay, depending on how critical the data element they are processing or the vendor, it will take it can take between a week to 34 weeks. You get, because sometimes the vendor, maybe you want to onboard the vendor immediately. They are aware already. They are ready to sell the business to you. I mean, the product to you too. They are ready to complete your questionnaire. They can complete it within a day if they are ready to put the time. But when they are, when they are not ready for all that, when you don't have, there's no pressure on them they will definitely spend their 2 weeks with ease to complete the questionnaire, no pressure. So
thank you.
Yeah. So yeah.
Sorry, I'm sorry to cut you. The very first question that you had for us, that the one that had to do with like your day to day, you said yours might probably be long because you've done it from the start to the finish. But I was kind of hoping that you could kind of walk us through like your day in the life, to kind of like just kind of hear how you do what you do.
Oh yeah. So
I don't think that would be possible because that would take time. Yeah, so it can't be possible. Yeah.
I mean, okay, yeah, and just stick to the process Mr. John has explained, because there is no one way to it. It's different. You can design your program to, what you feel like it's okay to access a vendor. If you go to another company, it's different. It's different. Some companies, they just review SOC 2 and ISO. If you have SOC 2, you are good. If you have ISO certification, you are good. They will approve it without checking other things. You get, so
I was just thinking, like for you, like I mean, like if they ask you at an interview that what do you do, at the job, like what would you normally say? Like
it's long, so I just walk them through the process from the beginning.
Summary,
but you know what? You can reach out to Mr. John after the class.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So because I have like 56 questions there, which I don't think we can walk through that. But let's see the important ones and the ones that are important during the interview. So another one is are you familiar with okay, so what do you do during kickoff call and scoping call? You get I feel that should have been addressed in the class, in one of the classes. Like you explain the kickoff call with the vendors team, and the scoping call with the business team to understand the how scoping call to understand what the product will be used for, or that's where you gather the data elements, what the product will be used for, and the data element that it will be that the product.
The inherent risk questionnaire. So just
yes.
remember that when I taught you guys inherent risk questionnaire. So those are where it's going to capture all those information.
Yeah. So that you see what I'm saying. There's no one way. So it's financials, they have their the terminologies they use. So different organizations they use different terms. So the another one is are you familiar with SIG, and what type of SIG do you use to assess your vendor, or do you send to your vendors? So here, the SIG, so it's a standard questionnaire used in the industry. There's know your KY therapy, know your third party. There's CAKE. CAKE is used for application cloud and application security. So there are different questionnaires, and some also they use their own inbuilt in-house questionnaire. They built the questionnaire by themselves. So but the SIG is standard. I think you should have the SIG in your question in your resume, and so they know the types of SIG. Some they want, so in the interviews, some interviewers want to know if you really know the job. So they will ask you, what kind of SIG do you send to your questionnaire? So know the types of SIG, the core, the SIG light, the core SIG, SIG light, and I think there's full SIG too. It's like 3 types. So try and find out on that and know that. Then what type of questionnaire do you send to your vendor? Maybe it's SIG, maybe it's KY therapy, maybe it's CAKE. They want to know. Some will ask you that too. Then do you generate the questionnaire by yourself? This comes along with the questionnaire question. So let's say the hiring manager needs, they can't afford to buy the SIG questionnaire. SIG questionnaire is like $7,000 a year. So maybe they can't afford to buy. They just feel like, okay, we can create our own questionnaire and send it to our vendors. So some need somebody who have the skill, who have done it, or somebody who have done it before. So that's why they ask. I've been asked that before. What do you check for in the questionnaire? Like when you send out the questionnaire to the vendor, what do you check for? You check for the missing controls. If you ask, do you have IS policy? If the response is, so it's a yes or no answer. If the response is no, then that's a risk you get. So if you're using like the manual, you have to know this. But if you're using the tool will have been programmed to identify the risk from the response that you provide. So that's another one. You're still going to have the question. So another one is like this one. So another one is, what type of vendor have you assessed? Give an example. So they want to know, okay, so if you apply to an hospital, to the health provider, maybe Memorial or any hospital, they are looking for somebody who have actually assessed somebody within that industry too. They believe you'll be familiar with those critical controls, those controls that are important for that industry. So if you are working in the financial, there are some controls, there are some things that they want you to know, that they feel like is very important to the financial, like the OCC. You have to know what the OCC regulation is about. And if you work in the New York financial, you have to know NYDFS, FFIEC, all the regulations. So that's important. You have to know the type of vendor, or maybe it's a fintech vendor, AI vendor, or maybe cloud vendors, all that. So you have to know what. So vendors are companies that they are providing a service to your own company. So those are the vendors. So you just want to know the type of vendor you have worked with. Another one is, have you assessed a vendor outside the United States, outside USA? The reason for this is language barrier. So if you might have vendor in India, Germany, where they don't speak English. So many organizations, they deal with foreign vendors. So you have to know how to handle those. Sometimes you have to have maybe a midnight call with a vendor outside the United States because of time differences. So that's why this question is important. The response is important. So another one is, how do you prioritize your vendor assessments? So in terms of prioritization, you have 20 vendors to assess that have been assigned to you for assessments. You have to know which one to do first. So in one of the organizations I've worked with, we assess. So if you have a lot of assessments to do, we assess the vendor that, that brings income. I mean, what do they call income? That generates revenue for the organization, because it is from that revenue that they pay our salary. Information security, you don't generate any revenue. You get, so it depends on organization. Some organizations, maybe they have some team that they have to, give priority to, or maybe depending on the use of the product too. So you have to, this another question I've been asked. Then how do you deal with business owners? How do you deal with business owners is like, the reason for this question is some business owners, how do I put it? They will mount pressure on you because they want you to just do whatever they feel is good with them. So imagine you ask, you have a vendor is from the legal team within the organization, but you are telling the vendor they are handling critical data, like maybe e-discovery data, and e-discovery data is sensitive data. It shouldn't be public data, but the vendor is coming. The vendor doesn't have. They have just single factor authentication. They don't have multi-factor. So it's just username and password. But you are telling the vendor to have MFA because of the data they are processing. But the legal team will come, the business owner will come to you that why should the vendor have MFA? They already have password. That's okay with us. But you as a security person you have to be able to explain to the business owner that this is the reason why they should have MFA. This kind of data that they are processing is a non-public data, is a sensitive data. And if anything happens to this kind of data, it's going to have effect on the organization. So that you have to be able to know how to deal with them. Some will even tell you, I've been told before that why are we even wasting our time on conducting assessments on vendors? You get, so you have to know how to deal with them. Because sometimes they are VP, they are top executives in the organization. So that's it about that. Another one is how do you remediate? How do you remediate? I think Mr. John must have talked about this.
Yeah, I explained that to them.
Okay, yeah. So another one is another question is CIA triad, criticality. I mean, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That's purpose of cybersecurity or information security. The objective of cybersecurity, that's confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Then you should be able to explain what controls provide confidentiality, the one that provides that ensures integrity and availability. You get, so I've been asked that before. The NIST, take note of the NIST series, 853, 830, different NIST series, they can come up with that. And like, for instance, the 853, some will ask you to mention some control families in the 853. So take note of that. And this, like I mentioned earlier, when I was talking about regulation, these are things that you should be familiar with because it's not just the textbook and the videos that you're going to use to, that you're going to use to be successful in the role or in the job. You need all this because in the cybersecurity world, you can't say anything without NIST. You can't do anything without the NIST. Like in every industry you need a NIST. So you have to be familiar. This will be like your news, your cybersecurity news, because NIST comes up with updates every time. ISO comes up with updates. You have to be familiar with it. That will take it to, to another level within the industry. If you are very good with it, I mean, you can actually rely on it to build several several programs within the organization. Then the privacy impact, the IPA assessment. IPA assessment is done on, like, in terms of in context of vendor security. IPA assessment is done on vendors that processes IPA data, the health information data. So you have to do IPA assessment on them. And when you're assessing such vendors, you expect them to have the trusted. So when they have, if they are taking IPA or the PHI data, you expect them to be compliant, to be in compliance with the iTrust. That is, to be in compliance with IPA, then they should have the iTrust certification. Read on the iTrust too. Then the cloud. cloud is very important right now because most of the vendors, if you are conducting 100 assessments, 95 of your vendors are hosted in the cloud. So you have to be familiar, you have to know the cloud, not necessarily know everything about AWS, Azure, but know how cloud works. That's the most important thing. Know how cloud works. So many of these vendors, they are just, so instead of them to have to use a data center, they are going to AWS, Azure to use instead of their data center. You get, so you just have to know how it works. Then there's something called shared responsibility model. So it shows the responsibility each party is having. So if you are the vendor have the responsibility, that is the cloud vendor, the cloud service provider, that is either AWS or Azure. Then there is a responsibility that the customer, that is the vendor, would have. So the vendor is presenting itself to you that will use the cloud. Then you are seeing, okay, the vendor, so you now have vendor and the cloud service provider, which is either AWS, Azure, or Google. So you are seeing what responsibility they have in the cloud. Then, if you now see the responsibility, you now have to question your vendor. If they have done their responsibility, like if they have their controls, so the responsibilities are controls that they should have in place. You now question them, do you have these controls in place? You get, so there is in a SOC 2, there's something called CUEC. So the CUEC will tell you what controls. If you are using a product, let's say you are taking a product from Oracle, they will tell you what controls you have to have in place, like the identity and access management. You are going to manage that. You are going to have a policy, all that. So I'll take note of that CUEC in the SOC 2. So that's that for that. Understand the cloud. SDLC, then these are things the reason why you should have the textbook is you'll be able to know all these security, what do I call it? You'll be able to know you'll be able to you should be familiar with the SDLC, software development lifecycle, business continuity plan, disaster recovery plan. You have to read it, know what it entails, and by reading that, when you see the questionnaire, you won't have any issue at all, because you are just going to see that they are just asking you everything you have read in the book. Then know the different types of SOC reports. So there's SOC 1, SOC 2, SOC 3. Know the different types and the differences. There's SOC 1 type 1, type 2, SOC 2 type 2, type 1, then SOC 3 is just one. So know the differences. And if you have the chance, try and get a SOC 2. It's always about, I think, minimum of 44 pages. Maybe if you can just go through it, read it, digest it, and understand everything in it. It will really help, because that's just, that it covers most of the things you'll be doing at SOC too. So that's for SOC. Then patch management. Patch management is basically updating versions of your software or your system or hardware, OS, operating system. So it's very important too. If you don't have patch management, you're vulnerable. There's a high chance you'll be breached in the nearest future.
Mr. Abraham, you've done justice to all of this. I know there's a lot. I know you have a lot of questions, and let me open. Do you guys have questions, concern?
Thank you.
Do you have questions, concerns?
Excuse me.
Okay.
This is Kenny Olukule. I have a question.
Okay.
In our resume, does it have to show we have experience in all of these places, like healthcare, security, and also financial and non-financial? I don't know if that question makes.
Okay.
And in addition to that question again, for those that does not have any experience in it, how are they going to handle that?
What do you mean by you don't have experience in what?
you just did the training and you don't have any experience before. So how are you going to handle it if peradventure questions comes up? That how many years of experience do you have in the field?
That's not a question I'm going to ask on the recording session. You can reach out to me personally.
Okay, and for the first question,
yeah,
you can have your resume. So it doesn't matter if you have worked in the health industry. If your resume says you've worked in the health industry, that doesn't mean that you can apply to the financial. You can still apply, but the thing is, mostly the financials, they always want somebody who have financial experience.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean you can't get a job in financial.
Sure.
I don't have financial experience, but I got a job in financial. You get so.
Okay.
Yeah. So just.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi. Sorry, my name is Taiwo. My question is, apart from the CompTIA security book, is there any other book you can recommend in addition to that one?
Yeah. So there are different books, but I think that's okay for now.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, that's the it's so these books, everything is just they're all the same. The writers, I mean, but this one that Mr. John has recommended is very good, very explanatory. But aside the book, I will recommend that you read regulations. You be familiar with regulations.
Okay.
When it says regulation, it's referring to like all these GDPR, PCI DSS, and the likes.
Because the book we handle any security questions they will ask you. But the regulations, you need to read that. You go to all these regulatory bodies, they have their website, so you can go there.
You have YouTube to
yeah, so you read and make note from that. So because if they will ask you a question, they will just ask, what do you know about this? You get to that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Questions? Okay. I think yeah, we're not much today, so probably they might not have questions. Anyway,
Mr. John, I have a question.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is centered around verification.
We can hear you clearly. I don't know if I'm the one.
Oh.
Okay, can you say that again?
My question is centered around remediation.
Okay.
There are times to just, at the point of interview, getting our stories right is key, because I keep hearing people say you must be able to tell stories, you must be able to give stories. And now, around remediation, assuming if a question is asked, what kind of remediation have you carried out? You've carried out, you said you've carried out remediation. Oh, I did remediation. Remediation in what aspects?
Okay, Mr. Brian. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Mr. Brian, can you just give example?
Oh yes. So in interview, don't try to complicate anything. You get, because when you try to complicate, they can take it to another level, because security is very wide. So and mostly, one of the questions I've been asked about remediation is when you are assessing vendors, what's common issue? What is an issue that is common to vendors? You get, like, that is when you're assessing vendors. Where is it that if you assess like 10 vendors, where is it that you will definitely have to remediate with the vendor? And that is access control. So reason being that I'm working for company A. We want vendors to comply with our own IS policy. So in the sense that we have our password settings to be minimum of 15 lengths. 15 lengths, you get. But maybe another vendor is coming to us and they have minimum of 8. You get. So we ask them. So that is an issue. We won't accept 8. So that is a risk to us. So, but imagine that we have our own password length is 8, minimum of 8 length too. That the vendor has 8 length, minimum of 8 length. That it won't be a risk. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So suffice.
So, but now our own is 15 length, but theirs is 8 length. So that's a risk to us. So one way we remediate that is we ask them. So because okay, so that is that's if you're using a multi-factor, single factor, like access types of what's it called? Like if you're doing what I know, what you know, what you have,
Yeah.
and so considering order. So you have they don't meet up with the password policy or password length, but we ask them, do you have MFA in place, multi-factor authenticator? If they have MFA in place, that mitigates the risk of them not meeting our password. So we won't ask them to change their password length to minimum of 15 lengths. If they have MFA, that mitigates. We also
excuse me.
Yeah.
So excuse me. So what Mr. Ibrahim said now is more or less like how they can actually remediate. They do not have, if you notice, the risk is Mr. Ibrahim's company, where he does his assessment is they're actually using 15, right? But the
Yes.
vendor has 8 as their own policy coming from their user access or password length rather. The password length is 8. Why Mr. Ibrahim's own, their company is meant to be 15. But at that point, the vendor has a compensating control. They can compensate to that. The compensating control at that point is the multi-factor authentication they're using. So that suffice. That's what it's saying. Am I right?
You're right. Yes.
Okay.
So another one we ask for in terms of the in the context of the access is whereby password doesn't meet our password requirement is SSO. There's something called single sign-on. So single sign-on is also it also mitigates. It's like a compensating control tool for access. So if they have single sign-on, it mitigates the risk of them not meeting the password requirements, password requirements. So that's for that. So the another way to remediate is so it's very simple. You just have to understand security. So if a vendor doesn't have encryption for data in transit, that's or let's say for data at rest, AES, TLS, you get. If they don't have, so that's a red flag, that's a risk. You ask them, and that's it's a high risk. So questions are also classified too. Like you have, let me not go to that. So you have, so the vendor doesn't have encryption in place. You ask them to fix encryption. Like they have to have encryption. You get. So that is how you remedy it when they don't have a control. So you have to know how important the control is. So for encryption, they should have. Everybody should have. You get. So you ask them to implement that control, and you give them time. Maybe for encryption like that, you can give them 90 days to fix that. That is remediation. So when they go to fix it, they come back to you that they have fixed it. They give you evidence. You have remediated that risk. You have the evidence, and you mark that as being remediated. But so there are some risks that needs remediation, but that won't stop you from using the vendor. So for instance, the vendor they are not in compliance with EU GDPR, but they are not taking EU GDPR customer EU resident data. There's no need for you to stop the vendor, because that doesn't stop, they are not taking EU resident data, even though they are not GDPR compliant. You get. But for instance, if they are not GDPR compliant and they are taking EU resident data, that is a risk, and that they have to fix that. So they can come up with different. They can have a meeting with you to let you know, okay, we are going to do this before we actually send our data or store our data anywhere. We will get this done. Then you give them time to go and do it. So that is how you remediate. For encryption, you give them time, go and remediate. They come back to you. They have remediated. They give you evidence. You review the evidence. Okay, you have done this. So sometimes they come up with things that you have to like maybe they have you ask them for patch. Okay, they don't have patch management policy. Okay, they don't patch. That's another risk. You ask them, do you use there are some things they use while providing service to you, like maybe container, all that.
Please don't go deep.
So maybe okay, their operating system needs to be patched. Their antivirus need to be patched. So you ask them, what kind of antivirus do you use? They tell you the antivirus capacity, nothing. You can ask them, oh, what version? Is it the latest version? If they are not using the latest version, you ask them to go and upgrade to the latest version and come back with evidence that they have the latest version. So that's how you remediate. There's no big deal. There is like something is missing. Go and fix it. Come back to us.
Exactly.
You just have to know if they come back to you, you just have to make sure they have the right thing. They are presenting the right thing to you, because sometimes it's always like they bring something to you and you ask them, no, we are not okay with this. Go and get this. You get, so that is how sometimes you tell I've done one that they don't have their password policy, their password length is 8. And I ask them, go and make it 15. And they just, so we ask them, okay, if you want to use the 8, make sure you have a MFA in place. And they just went on to change it to 15. And with 15, we are just okay with that. And that's it. So it's like something is missing, fix it. So when something is missing, you just have to know the level, like, is it really important? Can we use the vendor before they fix it, or they have to fix it before we use them? You get, so some remediation you'll be using it. In fact, some remediations will take 2 years because they won't fix it. You tell them fix this and they won't fix it, but you're already using the product. The next year when you are doing another assessment on them, that thing will still come up, and you to show that, oh, last year we asked you to fix it, and they'll be like, yeah, we are working on that.
Basically, what he just mentioned to you now is the continuous monitoring, ongoing monitoring. So you see it again. Remember, I told you that's at that point that escalated into an issue that it cannot be solved. So it's those issues actually red flags, as in come out as red. It's an alert every time you are doing a continuous monitoring or reassessing that vendor. You see that issue. If that issue has not been remediated, you keep making sure that those issues are remediated. So basically, that's what he just mentioned. And I'm very sure Mr. Ibrahim has mentioned a lot because you have 10 minutes. If I give Mr. Ibrahim 1 hour, I'm 100% sure he will keep explaining to you. Yeah.
Let me just mention one thing about
okay.
The remediation. So when risks are not remediated during an assessment, you go to, you have there's something called a risk register. You go there, you put the risk. You put the risk on like a risk register, like from each assessment you're doing. It could be maybe it could be in an Excel spreadsheet, or maybe you have a tool. If you have a tool, you have a risk register. You go there, you put the risk, the vendor's name, you get the name of the vendor, the time it was found, you identify the the risk, so that will let you know every time you go to the risk register to address the risk register, then you can see that, okay, this risk has not been remediated, then you reach out to the vendor. That's where you track the risk. You get, so because that's another job itself. You have to keep track.
Exactly. So remember I told you guys that most companies do have issue management team that handle that. Why some small companies, you'll be the one to monitor and do those open findings, which is what he just mentioned, which is the register. That you're putting all those risks that cannot be remediated, those open findings that cannot be remediated. Mr. Ibrahim, you can continue.
Yeah, so that's can I continue with questions, or?
Mr. Ibrahim, we have less time, and I'm very sure that.
So
I'm listening.
So another one is that they have to, everyone has to read about is the OWASP. It's very important.
Yeah.
OWASP, OWASP top 10. Please read about it. It's very important.
Yeah, this is an interview question. Yeah, I remember I was asked. Can ask you to explain 3 or 4.
Mention.
Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to say something. It's not just about answering questions as well. I mean, people should prepare to ask the interviewers questions. Those are very important too. So I think you need to mention that as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That's Mr. Steve Seweno. That's my boss. I have some few bosses right here. So that's another boss right there. Seweno.
Boss.
Okay, yeah. So on that, so it's part of what you have to get together when you are preparing for interview. Your questions that you're going to ask, and when you are asking questions, don't go and ask them. There's like, oh, so what kind of tool do you use? So the questions they expect you to ask is a question to determine if you actually want to work with them. You have to know the team you are working with. If they offer you the job, you can turn it down and say, oh no, oh, because of this, I don't want to work with you. You get what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh, what kind of tool are you using? So do you review SOC 2? You get what I'm saying? So yeah, you can Google, there are numbers of questions online, like good questions that you can ask. So
okay, thank you so much, Mr. Hybe. Thank you so much for the interview questions and be able to break down. You've actually broken down the process itself. And again, you gave us some point on the remediation aspect, which is very, very, very key and interesting. Thank you so, so much. I'm so grateful. Probably I think I need to send some money to your account. I know you are richer than me, but
no,
still,
I'm not. It's just that if I didn't refer you to Mr. John's class and you have mentioned that I referred you, please, when you get to reach out to me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ibrahim. I have Mr. Seweno, Mr. Steve Unja on the call. That's my boss right there. So if you have some things to say, word of advice, things that okay, they need to know and the likes, you can just say that. We have a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, I don't really have anything to say. I think Mr. Ibrahim did justice to this. I had a lot of learning experiences just listening to him while I was here myself. I think he did a very good job. I don't really have anything much to say. I know it can be a little overwhelming. I mean, all the things he's been mentioning, the different frameworks he's been talking about, GDPR, CCPA, and all of that. I think as newcomers in the space, I think just having a very basic overview of some of this is very helpful. I mean, you don't need to be a GDPR expert or anything like that, but just having a little grasp of, okay, what does GDPR covers? What does CCPA, what things like that. And there's going to be a lot of learning on the job as well. I know it may be overwhelming. I mean, all the things that Mr. Ibrahim has been saying and explaining, I'm sure he didn't learn it in one day too, or in 1 month or 2 months too, but continuous, improvement and all of that. So I hope after the end of this class, we keep trying to improve ourselves, reading articles, getting, abreast with latest trends in cybersecurity and all of that, because third party basically is cybersecurity. They're actually real life things. I mean, what's happening now? What attack just happened last week?
That's an interview question right there.
Yeah. So, the real life thing is not something dead. What security breach just happened? Things like that. So, I don't really have anything much to say. I think Mr. Ibrahim did a very great justice to this. I'll just speak a little about remediation because someone had asked. Basically, remediation timelines are based on the risk rating of the vendors, and different organizations will have, different timelines. Some organization will tell you, well, if there's a finding and maybe let's say their finding is the maximum, that's the highest they can, call that finding. They would want you to remediate that finding, maybe let's say within 17 days. If you don't, they may kick you, out of the service you're providing for them. Because if your finding is going to pose a big risk to an organization, they may not want to do business with you if you don't remediate some of these findings. So if it's a critical high risk vendor or third party, then they may want to implement some of these drastic things. But it's really rare for things like that to happen, though, where people will not want to remediate those things. another thing I was going to say is when we're talking about remediation, basically most of the time we are remediating based on the guidelines of the organization we're working for or the client we're working for. Am I correct, Mr. Ibrahim?
It's Mr. Ibrahim still here? I guess I left. So what was the question again?
Oh no, I was saying something like when we're talking about remediation, we remediate based on the guidelines of the person we're doing the service for. So
Yes.
let's say, yeah, okay, fine. I just wanted to be sure. So so we don't just bring remediation, find a remediation proposal from out of the moon. It has to be basically what our organization wants. Now, maybe some organizations will want some certain email security protocols in place if you're doing business with them. They may tell you, well, you need to ensure that you have SPF, DKIM, or DMAC enabled on your email security solutions. So when you're doing an assessment and those things are not enabled on their email solution, then that's a finding. So things like that. Basically, not everybody implements this kind of email solution, but because that organization has a policy in place that if you're doing business with us, you have to enable this kind of email solutions, then you have to do that. So I think it's going to be fine. I think we just need to keep pushing. We don't want to finish this class and just sit back. I remember personally, and this is just an encouragement, that I did this class with Mr. John in 2020. I think December 2020, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Before then, I had read some things about security. I had some basic understanding, but I didn't know much about third party. And he helped me and has continued to help me in my understanding and growth in third party. So I'm forever grateful to him, even though he's my friend, but he's also my mentor. So I wish everybody the best of luck, and hopefully we'll see you out there professionally. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Steve.
Thank you, sir. God bless.
Yeah. So the thing is, just to summarize everything, I know I didn't really go deeper into cybersecurity, and Mr. Ibrahim actually came in and was saying a lot of terminologies that I'm very sure most of you guys will be like, I didn't hear this before. Yes. I mentioned it when I started this class that I'm not going to teach cybersecurity. I'm not going to take it in this class. Yeah, because of some reasons. So my next class which is going to be a paid class. I might take part of it, then I go into third party. Because cybersecurity itself is even wide. Even if I'm going to take it, you still have to sit down and read. Like the videos I gave you, the book I gave you. So those are fundamentals. Mr. Seweno was mentioning something like SPF. I remember there was an interview I did with Mr. Ibrahim one time. They were asking both of us SPF. So what's SPF? I don't know what SPF is. So those are the kind of things. In cybersecurity is very wide. There are some terms you've never had before. You have to go look for it and see different kind of attack, a lot of attacks that you can see if you look at the videos I sent to you. Not just knowing the process, the life cycle. There are some people, I'm supposed to run an interview with you guys. Tell me about yourself. The question is, somebody was asking, okay, introduction. I'm supposed to run it, but I have a video and I sent it out. I'm very sure I noticed that a few of you that I sent it to did not grab that aspect. So I don't need to send it. If you have an interview, let me know. I have one that I can send to you, like a voice note, short voice note. But only if you have an interview and you're going to screenshot to me that, yes, you have an interview. And you're ready to set up one with you. I won't send it to everybody because it's private. So that is that. And please, I have 40 people. Yeah. I want the 40 people to send me an IM of your emails. I know some of you, I do send you recordings. I know the serious people I do send recordings to. Those, if you know I've never, okay, let me put it this way. If you know I've never sent you a recording, send me a IM in the next 15 minutes. Private chat, not in the group. Just send me a IM, just your email alone. Don't attach a note to your email because I like to copy. Once I copy, I just paste and send it, but not attach any notes in it. If you attach notes in, I won't be able to copy everything or copy your email alone. So just send me email. That I'm talking about those that, in this class tonight. What else do I have? Yes.
Sorry, Mr. John. Sorry, Mr. I want to ask.
The recording has stopped.
Mr. John.
I'm listening.
Yeah, sorry, I want to ask. For we to get like an alert of updates of what's going on in the cyber world, is there like a site you could recommend, you could bookmark that we could get news from like every day? I don't know if there's something like that.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Can you see my screen?
Okay.
Hold on, confirmation. Trying to see if we have confirmation here. Okay, I didn't see it here, but let's go to LinkedIn. I like this one a lot, and I'll send some in the group. In the group
And
chat.
sorry to interrupt you, sir. Sorry to interrupt you, sir.
That's fine.
So, I mean, sequel to the question. I mean, you can check something like CISA.gov.
Yes, thank you
They
so much.
always update that. So, yeah.
Counter. Thank you so much for that. CISA.gov. Not that.
Sorry to interrupt you, Mr. John. I think some people didn't get your instruction properly. They are sending the email address to the group.
The group. Send me an IM private message. If you send to that group, I won't send nothing. Because when you send to that group, a lot of people will have to send it. They don't even know what they are sending. They didn't know my information. So I will put you as part of them. Send me a private message. When I say private message on WhatsApp, please, WhatsApp. I beg your pardon. So countermeasure, you can use countermeasure. Countermeasure has a lot of, just follow them on LinkedIn. You will see a lot. This one is 1 hour ago. Russian hackers exploited MFA, multi-factor authentication, and print nightmare vulnerability in NGO breach, USC6. You see, this is 6 minutes straight, 1 hour ago. Anonymous hackers vow to accelerate cyber war, paralyzes Putin regime by any means necessary. I love this one. This particular countermeasure, this site is always updated all the time. So you can use this countermeasures group on your LinkedIn. I think they have a website. Let's see. Is there a website? You can Google and see countermeasure group. Anyway, if you are looking for a job as well, you can get a job here too. Most of my jobs are from LinkedIn, right? If you're looking for a job like this, let me tell you how to filter this. You can put in third-party risk management. When you put in third-party risk management, click in job. Okay, let me just do this first. So I type in third-party risk management. I'm only searching for job. I click on the job. You see all the jobs here. You can start searching. Like what Mr. Brian was saying, like this Mr. MF SP 200, I can read something on that. What's talking about? CIS version 8. You can read and see what it's talking about. Top 10, 18, version 8, top 10, 18, COVID, all these things. Personally, I don't really know much about this stuff, but I have an idea of what it is. So that is it. Like this one that says apply easily. You can filter anyone that says apply easily. Yeah. So how do you filter that? Easy apply. That means you have your resume on LinkedIn already. So I could just do easy apply. It's going to give you all these apply easily. Like now, let me apply for one. I think I'll apply for this stuff before. Okay, this is it. Submit. Yep. I applied already. So the same thing. I don't need to apply for all the CNA because it's like it's saying these are on site, but I still apply for it. Don't see because it's on site. don't be surprised that when you're doing your recruiter stage, they might say, okay, it's remote. So don't look at it, okay, because it's on site, don't apply. Apply for everything. Another one, Genesis. I think I applied for this one. Oh no. So I think I sent this into the group last week. This is my old address. Oh no, I don't like doing all this stuff. But apply. Just apply. So you filter, just like I did. This one is 150 to 200. These are the kind of role I like to apply for. Okay. Okay. Are you satisfied with? You have any one of? Yes. Okay. So the minimum certification you could have is not necessary, it's not compulsory. It's either your CompTIA Security Plus or CISA, either one, it's fine. Okay, that's selection. Easy apply. But if you don't want to do easy apply, you can apply for. If you filter, look at, I have 3,000 results out. But if you filter to easy apply, it's just going to give you fewer, 392 results. Personally, I don't have time to apply, so I just do easy apply. But don't be lazy if you are looking for third-party job. Don't filter. Or if you want to filter first, then after open all, then you can apply to any other ones. Right? That is one. Date posted. I like to look at. Personally, if you're applying every day, you don't need to look at everything. Just look at every 24 hours. Showed 358 results 24 hours ago. So hybrid, saying either remote or on-site. So like this, 3 hours ago. Just keep applying. Risk manager. Oh, manager role. This is small for manager role. Okay. What other ones are we seeing there? So I'm sure you're looking at, okay, there's no, so you can just look at it, see if it has something related to third party, contribute to its clients, corporate security assessment, documentation, testing, lead on, okay, says respond to third party questionnaire and audit. So once I see something related to that, I'll apply. Sorry. Anyway, that is it. I have someone that did this interview yesterday. The interviewers are two Nigerians. The manager is a Nigerian, the lead is a Nigerian, and another white lead. He did the interview, I think yesterday morning or today morning, can't remember, for this role. Okay, and the person actually has CISSP too, one of my friends. Any question?
Good evening, Mr. John. Thank you so much for the class. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Thank you, everyone that's been helping us out. It's been an amazing journey so far. I have one question for you, Mr. John. The number to send the email to, will that be the number to start with 713 or 214?
Send it to my WhatsApp. Do you have WhatsApp?
I am looking at it, but I have two for you. One's 214.
Two WhatsApp?
No, yeah, two for you. One is 21435 and the rest. The other is 713340. Is that the one?
I'm surprised you said. Okay, you know what? Send it to WhatsApp. I want to know if I'm the one. I don't have. Yeah.
Well, he's got you here as the admin, so.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I only have one phone number, so I'm surprised.
Oh, wow. Okay,
no,
sorry.
What he's saying is that on the WhatsApp group, there are two admins.
Oh,
yes.
No. Oh, I get what you're saying now.
It's a 713 number.
Send it to 713. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other question?
Lastly, Mr. John. When we are applying for a job and they are saying minimum experience, 5 years, I keep seeing that.
It
How
doesn't
do they get
matter. All those ones doesn't
apply all?
matter. It doesn't matter. Once you see 5 years, just make your resume. I'll advise if you are building a resume, make your resume to be 5 years. Let's say 4 years. You can apply for 5 years job, experience job, kind of job too. Doesn't matter. You can even do your resume can be more than that, 7 years. Depends if you want to. Doesn't matter, but don't let your resume be 2 years. I don't like 2 years kind of resume. All right. So minimum of 2 years. Minimum. No, not minimum of 2 years. Minimum of 4 years. Minimum of 4 years. So any other question? If you want to, if you want to leave, you can leave. Or we're done. But if you have question, no problem. I'm here.
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. John. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
John, you
Go
probably
ahead.
sorry about Mr. John. You probably talked about this before, but I just kind of missed it though. How do you deal with an unresponsive vendor?
How do I deal with unresponsive vendor? Okay, that's an interview question. When you're dealing with unresponsive, you escalate that to the business owner. Firstly, I send a reminder or follow-up emails at least 3 times. It depends on the organization. So my current role, we are trying to implement for our clients. I'm a consultant anyway. So we're telling them, okay, they should do a reminder 1, 2, 3. Follow up 1, follow up 2, follow up 3, then escalation. Escalation is we escalate it to the business owner or we escalate it to the manager, depending on the organization. But just say you do a follow-up 3 times follow-up, then you escalate to your manager, from manager to business owner. Then if they are unresponsive, you accept that we just terminate or we inactivate or terminate the excuse me, the vendors out of it.
Thank you.
Sorry, one more question, Mr. John. Sorry, please. If you are putting 5 years of work experience, well, what do you put in case when they ask you, like, where did you get this experience from, like the organizations you've worked before? Is there any suggestion or that's too private?
No. If you're asking you that, where do you get this experience from? Of course, you get it from my class. Yes, you get it from. You don't need to tell them that. Of course, it's on your resume. I'm not recording this anyway. It's on your resume, right? So
Yes.
you build your resume to take up 4 or 5 years. So if they're asking you questions, that okay, where do you get the experience from? It's in your resume. They are seeing it in your resume that you got experience from so company from so. They won't ask you that question. If you have it on your resume that it's 4 years, they don't need to ask you. I don't know if I'm making sense here.
Yes,
you have to build your resume to that level. Don't just put 2 years and apply for a job. They won't call you. So I don't think they will ask you a question like, where do you get this experience from? No, it's in your resume already. I don't know if I'm able to. I don't know if I got your question well.
My question was tailored towards where did you work before? If you've not done the job before, like your first time, you're like a first time applicant in this kind of role.
I think someone to help me because I don't like talking
so
too
when
much.
you
Hello, sir.
when you apply for the roles or when you have your resume, in your resume you're going to have where you've worked, right? So you've worked at ABC company. That's where you have that experience from. So on your resume, you won't just put third party risk analyst 3 years. It has to be, okay, this is where you worked for those 3 years. So at the interview, they wouldn't ask you that unless maybe somebody knows somebody there, but they wouldn't come and ask you, oh, like, where do you work? It's already on your resume. Does that make sense?
Hello, sir.
I think his question is,
Hello, sir.
what kind of companies can he put? I don't know if I'm right.
Okay, I think. Okay, someone was saying hello, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. I guess what he was trying to ask was, which company did you work? And absolutely, I'm sure you won't be able to say that here. If he wants to, I mean, I understand where.
Okay. Anyway, I didn't record. I stopped recording. So
yes,
let me explain to you.
I guess I understand.
Okay.
I understood what he was saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what happened is this is it. We're all Africans and Indians do this as well, right? So the thing is, yeah, so we build resumes. Like now, let me assume that, okay, you just finished from this class and you're building your resume. You have to build your resume to carry, let's say, 4 years on third party, Probably maybe you've worked as a business analyst before, real. You put that at the bottom, then start putting your current as, third party, making it 4 years. So once you are seeing that you buffer it to 4 years, right? And you apply for job, right? You've got that 4 years experience is gotten from, maybe in your resume you put in Sport Solution, third party risk analyst, 2016 till present, right? Of course, you are getting that experience from Sport Solution. You don't need to tell them. You don't need to tell them that you went for a training to go and acquire these skills here. You got experience. You've worked with different business owner. You applied for. You've worked with stakeholders, vendors within the space in Geosport. You've worked for Geosport for 5 years, and these are the things you do. Who asked that question?
Taiwo.
I don't know if I'm able to see. Is it your first time? Is this your first time of attending a class? Have you applied for a job before? I'm sorry to ask this question. Don't worry, it's not recorded.
Yeah, that's very cool. This is my first time, yes.
Okay. You know what? Let's talk privately, then I'll talk to you. So I'll explain better. And I did Damola. I don't know if Damola is still in the class. We'll talk as well. I think your question is similar to this. Adaeze. I think Adaeze left.
No,
your own case is different because you are a professional. So we can't. You're a professional, so we can't tailor some things. So there's a way yours is going to be because you are a professional already. So
can I say something also?
Okay.
Just from obviously I've never done like third party itself, but just from experience in terms of interviewing, when you build your resume, whatever points you're putting on your resume, make sure you can talk about it very well.
Absolutely. God bless you. I think I forgot to mention that. So so any point you're putting, if you don't understand those, because if you're doing an interview with me, right? Let me tell you, I got that experience from Indians. If Indians are interviewing you, bro, you will off the call, you will switch off because they will frustrate you with questions. You are answering questions, right? You are giving me answers. And from that answer, I'm actually asking questions. I told her, okay, you say you've done this. How did you do this? Oh, you did this way. Okay. What are the logic you use in doing this? You see? Questions inside the question.
Yes, sir.
So personally, if I do interviews, oh man, but I try not to be too rigid or else I feel
they'll give you room to prove your ignorance.
So I will tell you this, my managerial role, right? I remember when I was applying for that role, my first interviewer is an old guy. And the guy was asking me a question. Do you know what this guy did? He actually, before the interview, he went to my resume one after the line by line. When we started the interview, the guy was saying, oh, can you introduce yourself? I've said, from that introduction, I've answered like all of his questions, right? He now said, you know what? What he said was, well, I'm impressed with what I'm hearing because when I saw your resume doesn't carry what you're saying, meaning that you don't fit into that resume. That resume, you don't have, there are some things I note in that resume that I noted. Things like there's no punctuation mark. You are supposed to put a full stop here. You are supposed to underline this. You know that kind of a thing on my resume. So he's not even talking about my words, my sentence, but he's looking at all those punctuation marks and the like. So you have to be very, 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 very careful with that as well.
Hello, sir.
Thank you.
Yes.
Last week, I'm sorry, this is Tim Tayo. Last week we were doing the ServiceNow demonstration, but you had some technical difficulties. You had mentioned that you were going to send us a video or something that will explain that. Did you, are you still going to be able to do that? Give that.
Yeah, I have it. I wanted to do that part today. But I think my wife was still trying to figure out. He tried to build another development instance to see if it's going to work on our work environment, but it's still having issues. So that's why I didn't come up to teach that today. I'm even trying to see if I could create my own development and see if it's going to work, but I think I don't have that time. But I have a video. I'll try and send a video so you guys can see.
Yes, Tim Taylor, that's who's talking to you.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
If
sir.
you don't have question, don't say, oh, if I leave now, this man will not send me this thing. No, no, I'm just saying
No,
it to everybody.
No, sir.
I'm
No,
here
sir.
because I'm not doing nothing for now, right?
Yes, sir. I joined. My name is Abiodun. I joined your class like almost half of the session. But I can tell you for free that so far so good. Like, sometimes you listen to lectures and you just keep smiling like, what a big impact. I want to ask, it might look, foolish or whatsoever, or maybe I've not read enough. Yeah, maybe I've not read enough. Yeah, the service now. What's another name for service now? Is it GRC or GOC? What's another name for it? I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, no. Service now is service now. So let me tell you. Let me tell you this. When it's okay, I'm trying to see how I can explain to you. Okay, I explained all I taught from. Do you have my video from week 1?
No, so I joined around third week, the week 3.
Okay, so the thing is, since I have your email, so because sending videos to people is a job of 3-4 hours. That's why most times people will ask me videos. That time is when I'm gonna be on bed. I'll do that. When I'm on bed, I do that. So I'm sorry. So the thing is, they are different. Okay, all I actually taught from week 1 to, let's say, week 2 or week 3, right? They are manuals, showing you Excel of questionnaire, word, scoping or inherent risk questions are noted. So all those things can be automated instead of doing it in a manual approach. So the automation or the application we use are much. There are a lot of applications that the way you can automate this third-party risk management lifecycle. Right? There are automation tools, the applications you can use. One of them is ServiceNow. ServiceNow is one of the application. So we have ServiceNow application, we have RSA Archer, we have Metric Stream. There's a lot. Just like you have exactly, just like you have social medias, right?
Yes, sir.
You have let me use. So you have these what would I classify? WhatsApp, chat, Telegram. Those are different chat tools. Let me put it that way, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's how we have different TPRM tools, right?
Yes, sir.
So ServiceNow is one of those tools that you can use to automate third-party risk management. Yeah.
Yes, the reason why I asked that question was, in part of my jottings, because sometimes I'm driving and I'm still trying to jot down something. Okay, afterwards I will go back to it. I actually wrote either GRC or GROC.
Yeah, it's called GRC. It's called
ServiceNow.
ServiceNow is a big tool. It's not used for third-party risk alone. It's used to automate different things. It's used to automate policy and compliance. Auditors use it. Auditors have their own side of it, where they used to automate their own side of process. Risk people, what else? Different. HR. ServiceNow has HR. It's called ServiceNow HRSD. Anything related to HR. So ServiceNow is a big platform and it has different segmentation for each process or for each niche or subject matter aspect of it.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Mr. John.
Yes, sir. I have 5 more minutes. So, who is this?
Yeah. Hello, Mr. John. This is Kola Lige.
Kola. Okay.
Yeah. I just want to take my leave now, but before leaving, I just want to, on behalf of all of us, I want to appreciate you for being there for us all this while. May God continue to be with you. We've learned a lot.
Amen.
Really appreciate you a lot. We know what it takes for you to just, out of your own little time, time. Really appreciate you so much. God, Bless you.
Amen.
Please, out of your time, we see your student anytime, any day. We might be busy at times, but please leave some little time for us whenever we need anything from you.
Okay. Thank you so much. The thing is,
please,
okay.
1 second. I mean, I'm not requesting more than 10 seconds. Please.
Okay.
I want to assume that this is the last class, yeah, right?
Yes, please.
Sir, please, I know you wouldn't want it, but do you mind if you share just your date of birth with us? I mean, especially from me. I mean, it's just a time for us to celebrate you again, see you around. I mean, if depending on where you're situated or something, at least let's get to know you better physically. Okay, let's appreciate somebody who has impacted. If you have 100 people in your class, I bet you, even if I'm not part of those 5, I wish and I pray by God's grace I'll be part of them. But if adventure, I'm not even part of them. Those 5, 10, 6, 10 people that would say, okay, through this person, I've been blessed. I got registered for DBA at the point, I mean, in the school, blah, 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 blah. But I would tell you for free that through Sister Mary, I came into your class and I tell people like, I don't know what best adjective to describe it, but thank you so much. But please, if you don't mind, I mean, for myself, I can speak for that, and I believe.
You have my number. Do you have my number?
Yes, I do. If you would share from there, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, share. Right. Ask from me.
I would like to join that too. I really appreciate you so much. Like I am extremely happy.
Okay, see, let me say this. I know everybody actually appreciates and all that, but my goal, I keep saying this, is I'm not saying everybody might not get a job. It's not that might. It's not everybody. The one I will say this. I have in that group. I have 100 and I think 114 or 100 something. And since we started this class, the highest we've seen in this class is 80 something, 90. Let me say 90, or it's not up to 90. Where are the remaining 30 people? I remember I said this in the first class. Many are called, but few are chosen. My goal when I started this class was I want 50 people to get a job. And I'll say this to you. Is 100% sure, is an assurance that it's not everybody that actually took this class that will get a job in this field. Some will be tired, some will be worried, and they will move to another training. It's fine. I don't dispute that for you going. I've been there before. I've been there. My first training was on Primavera. It's a project scheduling role. I didn't get it. I did 50 interviews. Or more than that. I didn't get a job in it. I did a training from someone. It was for free. The person wanted to get money from me, but at the end of the day, did it for me for free. After then, I wanted to enroll into an IT audit class, but I didn't pay for it. But I didn't like the class. The way the guy was actually teaching was not good. I think that was his first time, and it wasn't really serious. It wasn't, so I stopped it. I think just for one day. And I started looking for materials, make research, build a resume myself, applying for jobs based on my own knowledge. I got a job. I actually learned IT audit on the job. I did that for some years before. The person that actually put me through third party, I met a guy on LinkedIn. He's a Nigerian. He just started doing third party and he said, oh, John, third party is more easier than audits and all that, but you have to understand security, and I believe you know security. Once you understand security, you can do this. He said, okay, he used to take a class. So yeah, I attended the guy's class for just one day. I don't like, people are different. He didn't really know much in third party, because what it does is just, he doesn't know anything about inherent risk. He doesn't know that part because he doesn't do it. So he doesn't know that it exists. He's just talking about the due diligence part, whereby he sends questionnaires, he receives the questionnaire. He's not even the one reviewing the questionnaire. Once he receives the questionnaire, he sends it to those that are going to review it. So he doesn't really know. So when I did one class from him. He doesn't record his class. He doesn't send recording. And his class is 1,005 for 3 days, 3 weeks. He's my friend. I mentioned only he's my friend, right? So after I got it, after my first class, I got to understand the whole picture of what this guy is teaching. So I started applying for a job. Within 1 week, I got a job. I got 2 offers. So when I got that offer, right? When I got those offers, I got one remote contract and I got a full-time in it's in Boston, or I can't remember. I know I traveled down there, but I didn't get that job. I didn't go for it because it was, I don't want to leave my house. So I did that contract job. Along the line, within 2 weeks or 1 month, when I did third party, I understand from start to finish that I put up a training, a free class. My colleagues in my first role, I worked in Deloitte then. My first role in third party was in Deloitte. My colleague actually joined the class. Two of my colleagues joined the class because they didn't really know much. So I was able to grab the process. I did the first class for free. And I told my friend, come. My friend actually put me into third party. Come. I know you don't really know much about this thing, but I think I know much now. And I have a lot of materials that I can give you. So start doing your training. I gave this guy a lot of materials, tell him, okay, this is it, this is it. But he said, John, I don't have time for those ones. Let me just do the little I know. Let me train people and just collect money. I said, I feel guilty if I'm doing that. If I'm getting money from you and I'm doing that, I will feel guilty, right? When I started getting money, why I started getting money from people is I noticed my first class. I spent time. Even I gave people room to come and see me at home in my house. Look at what I'm doing on the job. But these people did not take it for serious. They weren't serious about it. None of them, after the train, none of them actually go back and say, oh, I'm not saying that. Not that I go come and ask questions. When you ask questions, I know that okay, you are studying, right? It's not everybody, but few. But one person did not come back and say, oh, I'm doing interviews. This is what's going on and all that. No. After the training, just got black. I feel, oh, because I didn't get paid for it, there is not a paid class. I guess that's the reason why. So since then I've been charging 1,000, 1,500. I've been charging until now. I say, okay, let me do this one for free. All right. So that is my story, my short story. So
Yes,
I
sir.
really okay. Ask question.
So
Yes,
much.
sir.
You're welcome.
This is
Hi, Mr.
yeah,
John. This is Kemi.
I want to ask two things. You know, when we started and someone was asking about interview question, you said on the last day that you were going to give us like self
Yeah.
about yourself.
Oh, who is talking? Who is talking?
This is Kende Olukule.
Okay, that's good. You know what? Don't worry. You remember I told, yeah, I said that, but because of the approach of people, right? I've read let me tell you something. I've read a lot of story in my first class. I've read a lot of story, back-end stories, right? But I don't need to be saying everything here, as in negative stories about me. But I don't care, right? I don't care. The thing is, I'm doing what I need to do, and let it be. Nobody will discourage. I was discouraged about those words, but I don't care. So the thing is, because of that, I changed the approach. Normally, I'm not supposed to be sending. When I heard all those negative words and all that, I decided, okay, probably I stop this class or I won't send recording to anybody. But I just say, let me just send recording. You know. But the thing is, but my decision was this aspect of what you just mentioned. That okay, I promised myself that I'm not going to do it for everybody. I'm not going to do it in this class. That's why I made mention that if you beat the resume, let me see the resume.
Okay.
And when you start applying for job, if you have a recruiter interview, call me.
Okay.
I will give you. I have a voice note noted. I have 2 different voice notes noted down. So I'll give you the one you can say during interview with a recruiter. I'll give you the one you can say. So I have a ready-made one. So it's not for everybody. So once you have an interview, yeah, second one.
Thank you so much. Second one, this is to the group, as into everyone. I don't know if there are those interviewing already. If you don't mind, if you want to share your interview recordings, you know, this is my first time in TPRM, so you know, just to have an idea of the interview. So if anyone is willing to share, and if John approves of it, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Mr. John. Thank you so much for being a blessing, and I pray that may God bless you. and your family. So my own question is, you don't mind if we create like a small group, like maybe
See,
WhatsApp group?
anybody can, you guys can create as much as you can. My joy is you guys get a job. That's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so like we're trying to, just to share like knowledge, ideas,
See,
like if somebody have
if anybody, if you
interview.
guys can get job tomorrow, I'm happy. That's my joy because I will be sincere with you. I'm tired of training. I told Ibrahim, Ibrahim was my first set. I told Ibrahim, I told few people that I know that they can handle interview very well. I handle training very well, but they are scared to do it. So that's why I keep doing it. I'm tired. I obviously say I'm tired of. It's not about the money. I'm tired of doing training because it's burning me out. Talk, I have a lot. So my joy is seeing people getting a job and ready to take the baton. So that is it.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Sorry that I have to say
I'm
something.
sorry. I don't know if I'm able to answer that
Yeah, you
question.
did.
So you
Yeah,
can create any group, right?
you did.
If you are creating
did.
a group, if you want to put me in the group, fine. I can be sharing things in there. Fine.
Okay.
Or if you don't want me to be there, no problem.
No,
No,
we want you to be there.
you
Like,
should be there.
yeah, we'll just create the group and yeah, you'll be part of the group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And let me
I'm
say
just trying to.
this. Yeah. Let me
I'm
say
just trying to
this.
take permission from you
No, no,
before.
no problem. Let me say
All
this.
right.
I want to say you guys this. See, getting a white collar job in this country is not a bed of roses, right? Why I'm saying that is because I've been there. Oh, I've been there. So, and I've paid my dues. I'll keep saying this. So the thing is, it's not easy. It's not easy because at some point, I'm saying this now so you guys know. If you're applying for a job and you're not getting feedbacks, don't be tired. Don't be worried. If you're applying for a job and you're getting turned down, don't give up. My own is have a app on your phone. Mr. Ibrahim mentioned that. Record your interviews. Learn from your interviews. Learn from your mistake. Research. Watch videos, YouTube videos. Research. That was what I did. This Verminda, I give you guys Verminda. I stumbled over Verminda. Nobody mentioned it when I was making research. When I stumbled into it, that was what actually gave me my first job. Because there's a question the lady asked me in daylight. And the question actually came out from that Verminda I actually studied. So the thing is, I'm just giving you an heads up that don't get fed up. The only thing you can do is if you realize that you have been doing this for 7 months, 8 months, nothing is coming forth, you can try something else. When I say try something else, don't try anything. Yeah, you can try. Some people, I can say, okay, try something else within information security because you have deep knowledge in it. There's different areas in information security. 7 months, 8 months, nothing is coming forth, and you've applied. When I say 7, that means you're applying back to back, right? If nothing is coming forth, try something else. I won't hold you. I won't say, oh, just no. You can try something else. That knowledge of TPRM is still there. Let me tell you what I was doing my own time. When I was applying for IT audit role, I was also applying simultaneously for the project scheduling job. I didn't leave it totally. I was applying on both sides. What I was doing was I tweaked my name. I'm John Aibe. Here I use John Osere. My nickname is Osere, man. I use John Osere, right? So I might be applying to the same place. So I created an email for this, create an email for this. So I'm applying on both ends because that skill, I don't want that skill to just go. So I'm applying on both ends. Anyone that comes in, I grab it. So fortunately, I got audit role. So that's another style. Any question or any concern?
Mr. John.
Yeah.
My last question. For those of us that are applying, right now, would you advise? Because right now we have 3 types of locations. We have a fully remote, hybrid, and what would be your advice?
See, that question is not my question because I can't advise you, okay, just take remote. I can't advise you, take hybrid. No, it's your decision. But what I tell my people is It's your decision, or it's your decision. But me, myself, personally, if I'm a first timer, I'll take anywhere, even in Nebraska. Why? To get that skill. I will tell you, my first job, I was fortunate to do that in Houston. My second job was in US, was in San Antonio. I rented a room there. And that pay, let me tell you how much I was getting from ITL. Then $27. I was going back and forth to San Antonio. My wife was in Austin. So we have a kid in Houston. Look at that. I would drop my wife on Sundays, drop my wife in San Antonio, in Austin, drive another extra 1 hour to San Antonio. On Friday, come back to pick up my wife in Austin, then come back home. It's very, very crazy. But why? Because I need that skill. I need that knowledge, right? That was my second job, but I still need that skill. After then, remote came in. I quitted that job and I was like, okay, you know what? I want to stay at home. My kids are here. So what I did was, that was when I switched to third-party risk, right? And when I did third-party risk, I got to offer. If it's just one offer, the offer is the only boasting one that I told you guys, I will go for it. And I'll tell my wife to come back home, to quit that job and start looking for something here. And I'll go and do that. So see, as I said, it depends on you, the way you guys want to run it. I'm not speaking for you guys. So that question is not what I want to answer. But personally, that's what I would do. I will take anything just to get that skill. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you so much. I mean, because you said, like you said, it's the last lecture. So I know it's just a time that people will call you in several months, hopefully by God's grace. Like
not even in 7 months, very soon.
Yeah, like some will say, of course, no matter how we pray, some will be like tomorrow, some will be like 1 month, some will be like it's definitely gonna be like that. So worst case scenario, some couple months people want to call you back again. So I mean, my question is, well, I've learned a lot, even though I just joined a couple of weeks, but indeed it's a thumbs up something. And I want to ask again, like, are you on YouTube? Do people go on your page?
No, I don't
Maybe I should just discuss that with you personally. I think that would be fine.
See, I'm not that kind of person though.
Oh, you don't want that though?
Yeah, I'm not that kind of person. I'm not that. Yeah, I understand.
So
yeah, that's fine. But don't worry.
Oh, come and join your church, mosque, whatever, wherever you worship, because God doesn't come down. This is God you are saying. I'm sorry, guys.
Mr. John, I have one last question for you before you go.
Okay.
I note that when you were doing the application, you put in there that you got CRISC.
Who's this person talking? Your name, please.
Ayo. My name is Ayo.
Okay, look at okay.
Yes, I know that you have CRISC. Is it necessary to have CRISC, or if you don't have it yet, is it something that we should pursue actively to try and get, or we can substitute it with maybe Security Plus, a CSAR, or CYSA?
Okay, let me just tell you what that does. What that does is, look at that job I just applied to now that I put in everything, right? It's because I have it. So if you don't have it, for example, you won't be able to apply for that job. That's the meaning. That's for that particular job, right? But some job is not required, it's not necessary, it's not mandatory. So what the certification does is, it actually creates room for you for an interview. That's all. So once you have 10, if I'm getting 50 people and I see that, okay, 10 people has CISSP, all this stuff and all that, I'll call those 10 people first. If I see that, okay, they are not good, they just have the certification, then I can pick from the remaining 40 people. You understand the logic?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Okay, so ideally, in a nutshell, it's better to have it. It's not necessary.
Yeah, it's better just to separate your resume from. But I will tell you, I have people that never had those certification. They only had CISA. Some only had Security Plus, and they got a job.
Okay, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Hi, Mr. John. Quick question, please.
See,
So,
if you want to leave, oh, I'm not holding you back. And if you are enjoying this conversation, me, I'm still here. I'm enjoying the conversation until I feel okay. Yeah, because it's night already, so I'm not doing nothing for now. So
yes, I was gonna ask because I think like most of the people in the class, like this set, they're probably interested like in the group that we wanted to create so we can share like ideas and stuff. So if you don't mind, like, can you give someone the permission like to be the admin and this one that was already like the group that was already created, or we should just create a brand new one?
See, I don't know how you guys want it. So the thing is, that group that I created, I told you I wanted to dissolve that group because why? Is because it's not everybody in that group that is. I know a few people. I don't just want to take them out like that.
Oh, okay, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, until they start telling me I'm rude again.
Yeah,
so
I get what you're saying. So I would just do
yeah.
it, like I would just put my phone number, like so anybody that wanted to like they can just text me their phone number, then I will add them.
Yeah,
so
exactly. So
thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. That person, is that Tayo?
No, this is Kemi.
Okay, Kemi, you're talking like someone that I know. I know she's talking like Tammy. That's like Tammy's voice. So I feel you didn't do well. Yeah, so don't worry.
What's your name on the group, please?
Kemi, can you put your number here?
Yes, I will do it like right now.
Yes, please put your number so we can communicate. I'm interested.
Yes.
I'll put someone on. Yeah, Kemi, you're speaking like Tammy. And Tammy Tammy is very smart. And Tammy has been one of my very good, he was in my class. She was in my class in 2020. I think my first class. That was in 2019. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So she's not in this class. She was like in the past class.
She's a boss.
Oh wow. She's making the money now.
Yeah. Well, she
does not even have time for her friend right now. That's how busy she is.
Yeah. So what's gonna happen? I'll put her in that group. Do you want me to put her?
Yes, please.
Recently, she has been really busy and sick, so I don't even think she would have time, to be honest, because she has not even had time for myself. She has been in and out of the hospital.
I've been looking for you in the group. I know.
Oh,
yeah.
I know why, because I do mention Anu, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you why I do mention Anu. That people feel okay. Why Anu? Because I've seen people attacking me at the back. And
no. I know, like
no. I'm just saying
all the time. She keeps saying all the time.
Exactly. So even apart from that, I noticed that the way she's studying this stuff, because I know people that are actually reading behind the class. So I perceive that okay, this person is reading, is studying. So I will definitely call you. I'll call your name. I'll put you on the spot. So
I personally reach out to Mary too, because she chips in all the time. Then I've been looking for this particular Anu. Then I couldn't find her name. It was like
So the thing is, I'm even personally I'm looking for females that can actually do well in this field, so they can help others. So I've not had time to see females. I only have male mentors that can help me out, but I need females. Currently, when I didn't get a job, I know. So and others, I want females, please. The females I have now, they just started working, and I want more females. So please, is Tolu here? I think Tolu left. Probably is late over there to 11 in East Coast. Kimberly is quiet in this class. Kimberly even is quiet. Tolu is still here. Tolu is my quiet person. Kimberly, you've not been answering questions. And you've not been asking as well. What happened? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. You said I've not been answering questions or asking questions?
Yeah, but what happened?
Because I'm at work. So.
Oh, I noticed that. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. All right. I think we're good, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. I can't wait
sir.
for you
God
guys to
bless.
get eating LinkedIn, eating Indeed, get that jobs so we can celebrate.
Mr. John, I've
Thank you,
sent my
Mr. John.
email to your WhatsApp, please, for the record.
Okay, no problem.
Thank
I'll
you.
get
Mr. John, I will be adding you to the group, so make sure you accept the invite from me.
I will, ma.
Please
God's
do
grace.
admit.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
John.
Mr. John.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. Take care, guys.
Yes.
Thank you so
God
much,
bless
sir.
you, Mr. John.
You too.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, boss.
Kenny,